Hi, and welcome to The Vision Within. We are your hosts. I'm Katrina.
I'm Lori.
Loretta.
And I'm Lisa.
Before we kick off today and talk a little bit about happiness, I invite you to join us on our Facebook page, Rising Tides Global, and also on our YouTube channel, The Vision Within. So before we get started, I'm amazed that I said that correctly, by the way. You'll probably notice that others are always chiming in when the time comes for us to plug some of those things. And this is the first time I've gotten it right, so I'm a little happy, as luck would have it. So today we're talking a little bit about happiness and joy and contentment and what it brings to the table and really what it means in our lives. And, I can tell you that for me, I feel like I'm present for what's happening in my life when I am having fun and when I'm in a state of joy. And when I think about the difference between happiness and contentment, at least for me, it's evolved really, because I used to think that we can control our actions, but we can't control our emotions. Mm-hmm. And I've sort of grown to think differently about that. And so now, for me, the difference between happiness and contentment is that happiness is a feeling in the present of joy and gratitude. And contentment happens as an extension of that when we make consistent choices about really how we feel. Mm-hmm. And we string those together in a way that creates something long-term for us, an extension, if you will, of happiness.
Mm-hmm. That's really good.
So that's kind of how I think about it. What about you guys? How does joy show up for you, Loretta, and happiness and...
Yeah, joy, happiness, contentment. I agree with you. And I'd like to go back to what Lisa always says, appreciate and approve and that kind of thing. I think that when we have contentment in life, it's also like a looking forward type of thing, right? Mm-hmm. So wherever we are, we can appreciate where we are and have contentment where we are, knowing that every day something changes. Mm-hmm. If we're wanting something or waiting for something or even having like a bad day, there's always a divine plan, right? And so we have to be content knowing that we will have abundance and everything will happen for a greater good. And I agree with you. I think from a happiness perspective as well, I think that, we can experience that in the moment and really appreciate even the smallest of things that are, appreciating, like sitting outside with a cup of coffee and watching the squirrels play in the trees. I mean, to me, that brings me happiness.
Nature's ninjas, honey.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think anything
really
like
good.
in the present moment also that we can really look at and just, like I said, pay attention to the simplest of pleasures.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah,
it reminds me, happiness, the topic happiness. I woke up, and you're kind of in that alpha state as you wake up, and I heard in my inner ear, this was about 1.5 years or so ago, I heard randomly, because my mind was blank, happiness is a mathematical equation. And I'm like, what? So I got up out of bed and looked on the internet, and sure enough, about 6 months before that, some European scientists had discovered the equation for happiness, of all things. And it was this long Einstein equation, I couldn't even understand it. And, of course I couldn't understand it. Math wasn't the best subject for me. Anyway, I was reading about it recently, and I remembered that the way they found or were able to ascertain the mathematical equation was they had to first get people into the happiness modality. Mm-hmm. And one of the ways they did that was, or they saw that people were really happy, was when their expectations were exceeded. And, think about it. Like my daughter the other day, super bummer, Mom. I was told I was going to be on the cover of these 2 magazines, and I'm just inside it. Well, her expectations weren't even met. Mm-hmm. Super bummer. If she didn't know she was going to be in these great magazines, Better Home and Gardens and Sunset, you would think if she didn't know she was going to be in it, and somebody called her and said, "Hey, you're featured in these 2 magazines," her expectations would have been totally exceeded, and she would have been like, "Yay!" Yes. So, what is this about expectations being exceeded? And I'm kind of going on here a little bit, but I wanted to finish this thought. I think also we can get happiness through contentment, but even beyond that, gratefulness, total gratitude, like you're saying, in the moment, appreciating the moment, and not waiting for our expectations to be exceeded. And also, it makes me think too about one last thing I wanted to mention. I was talking with Caitlin, and I said, abundance is fun when we enjoy what we currently have. Enjoy that you're in these magazines. Forget
Right.
the fact that you were supposed to be on the cover. Enjoy. Abundance is fun when we enjoy what we currently have.
True.
That's a good point. It seems like there's a common theme emerging. It would appear that being present and being grateful is a huge part of it. And I'm going to just jump back really quickly, and I definitely want to get your view on this, but I just want to jump back really quickly to what you were saying about contentment, because for me, contentment shows up when I make consistent choices about being present, being grateful, and being happy in the moment. And when I'm consistent with that, that's when I create long-term happiness, which that, to me, is what contentment is.
Okay. Would
So
that
I
kind
define
of
it
be
a little bit
meeting your
different.
expectations, not exceeding? See, that's where I draw the line, because, the scientists said you had to
Sure.
get to exceeding your expectations.
I don't think so. When I'm in gratitude and I'm present,
Yeah.
and I'm not attached to an outcome,
Okay.
I'm grateful for whatever shows up.
Right.
Sometimes it can be uncomfortable because it's a lesson that's being delivered, and you might not be happy about it in the moment, but if you understand it and you can see the joy in it at some point, and you choose to be happy despite something coming into your path that you might have expected, asked for, or not, it might be there. We just don't recognize it in the moment. But when we have hindsight, we can see.
But that
it.
goes back to being grateful in the moment too.
I would
right?
agree.
Yeah, because you can have maybe something not pleasant is happening. Some kind of lesson that you're learning. But you can still be grateful that you have a roof over your head or there's food in the refrigerator, and so you have to really kind of select those more of the simple things again. In order to achieve that happiness, even when you're in the midst of a difficult lesson.
I would agree with that. It's painful when you're sitting in the middle of it, but
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
sometimes you have to get to the. I can tell you, divorce, cancer. I brought those all into my own movie and into my own life experience, and I wish I could tell you that I picked up on the subtler cues in my life that were asking me to shift, change, see things differently. And, if I could have gotten those lessons any other way, I probably would have. But looking back at them, I can be incredibly grateful for them. Even though they were challenging in the moment, I am now in immense gratitude because the lessons that I got from those experiences propelled me forward in my spiritual and emotional growth and how I show up for the people and relationships that are most important in my life in a huge way.
Right. Right.
What thoughts do you have about happiness and contentment and gratitude?
Well, a couple of things have popped up recently and randomly, reminding me that we have, as far as creationary power, we have no power in the past because it's behind. We have no power in the future because they're all possibilities. Our only power for creation is in now, is in the present, and they all exist now. We can create using the information from them, but we have to be in the present. And as I was walking through a bookstore the other day, I see all of these books being published on happiness. And I think it's interesting because how they are worded or phrased in the title, it's like in search of, the quest for, and all this stuff. And I think, the same about gratitude and being present. Like I woke up early the other day and I had made this cup of coffee like I do every morning. And I was sitting in the middle of the couch and I noticed that never had the light been coming in equally between the two windows as it did that day. And where I was sitting, it was like triangulating to the steam coming out of my coffee. And I am watching it and it's like these spirits playing and twirling and dancing, and I am mesmerized. I took a video of it. I was like, has this ever happened before? And it just, my whole day was just like so enchanting. But I was thinking too when I was out walking dogs that it's like happiness, it's never a quest, or it's like chasing a dog.
Yeah.
It will
yeah.
always run away.
But it shouldn't
Yeah,
be
that's-
elusive like that. I
No.
mean, you know, the thing is that happiness again is dependent upon
Yeah.
our perception of things
Yes.
and
I think it's
daily
also a
gratitude.
choice.
Oh,
yes,
definitely
yeah.
a choice.
It's a
Because
choice.
everything can be framed one way or the other. And so it was that way in
Yeah.
NLP. You know, people are, or like your daughter, you know, oh, crazy bummer. I didn't, you know.
Yeah.
Gee, I don't know. That's such a bummer. I got featured in all these
I don't
magazines.
think. Yeah, I don't think that's a super bummer. Congratulations.
I love that her goals are in the moment though. That's giving her more information, and she can up her goals that she has and manifest differently. Because
Yeah.
I know how you've spoken of your daughter.
Yeah.
And she's not someone. I mean, I know she said super bummer.
Yeah.
But for her, but she gets it,
Yeah.
and she's connected in
Yes.
that way,
She does.
and so knowing her just from you talking about her, she's going to take that information in and go, you know what? Next time I'm going to be on the cover of that magazine.
Yeah, I said the cover
Right.
awaits. She said maybe I should just lower my expectations. I said nada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said
yeah.
keep your expectations high. Just
Right.
be grateful for what you currently have, and that's when I said
Right, right,
yes.
abundance
Stepping
is fun
stone.
when we
Sure.
enjoy what we currently have.
Right.
But getting to the happiness is a mathematical equation, which I
Yes.
find fascinating
Yeah.
because they say that the universe is all,
Sure, all mathematical. Right.
fractals or whatever.
Absolutely.
And I suppose joy has a mathematical equation, misery has a mathematical equation. And we know we don't have to know the math.
Right.
We know how to feel that.
Sure.
And I think one way to feel happy, or at least for me,
Sure.
is when we just start laughing spontaneously.
Yeah. Right.
And you just can't stop.
Right.
Yes.
I think if the scientists looked at my neuro stuff in my brain, they'd say, "Oh yeah, that's also you're meeting the equation there. You don't have to
Sure.
exceed your expectations."
That's the best, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have. I use the word favorite loosely because I have a lot of favorite stuff. But one of the ways that, and this is going to sound simple and ridiculous, but one of the ways I find happiness in the present is like I'll just find something every day that's a new favorite. So, for example, last night I sat down on my sofa just for a few minutes while I was baking some things and cooking some things, just to kind of, take a deep breath. And it was kind of rainy and everything. And I took my dog on 352 walks yesterday and to a special dog bakery and all that because we couldn't go on a big walk. But I sat down and I thought, oh, I haven't picked out my favorite for today. And she jumped on the couch next to me and kind of laid across me, and I was petting her. And I thought, you know what? This is my favorite. This is my favorite today, when I get to cuddle with my dog. And I know that sounds really ridiculous, but
No,
it's this
that's
moment.
not.
And she turned around and looked at me and made eye contact.
Yeah.
And it was like this soul-to-soul connection in the moment. And I said, oh, Puffy, this is my favorite when we connect, and I can tell you how much I love you. And she just kind of wagged her little tail and got all wiggly and excited and just sort of like, well, lay there. But, it's those little things. It's those little choices. And I thought, well, wow, how interesting that it impacted her in that way as well. I think it's contagious.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
totally
Sure.
contagious. And something I saw in my mind when you were talking about math, happiness is a mathematical equation. I kept seeing prisms and crystals.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And I started a program on Saturday called Unlimited Futures. And it's this wonderful older woman who's leading the class. And you can tell she's just been on this incredible journey. And she talked about that there are 7 steps of creation. And the first step is clarity. And so she wanted you to get very clear on percentages, like your little piece of the pie. What are the 4 quadrants that are important to you? And so mine are health, joy and happiness, spirituality, and finances, career. So those, and then when you look at it, what percentage do you feel like that's good at, or what are you happy with? Do you feel like it's 60% successful in your feeling or whatever? And so I just saw that as this changing crystal. So the little slices of the pie, the percentage, are the width that the light is coming through the prism. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so if we increase our percentage, and so let's say your finances, you were 40%, happy with or something. So then you have to say, okay, what are the choices I'm going to make? Little baby steps every day to shift that. Then you're widening that fraction, and you're making it bigger for more light to shine through.
So if you increase the fraction, I mean, so are you looking at those 4 points as a total 100% as a happy
Pie.
being? Or okay, so really, if you were 40% happy with
In
the
one
finances,
piece
Yes.
of it, you know. So it's like if every little thing could be 100% coming into 100%.
Okay, that
You
makes
see?
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
interesting.
that gets back that gets back to abundance is fun when we enjoy what we currently have.
Yeah.
So let's think about it. We get a new car. Somebody surprises us with a new car. Okay, well, that's exceeded our expectations. Or we save up and we buy a new car. How long do we enjoy that? I mean, really have fun and enjoy the abundance of that new car?
Right.
I mean, a week, a year, 2 years, maybe a few days for some people.
I'm on 6 years in my car.
Yeah, but I mean, do
But
you?
you
not
love
sexy,
it
but
every day, though. This
Are
is-
you-
Yeah.
are you
happy
extremely
every day?
happy?
I literally,
Good for you.
in my gratitude every night,
Yeah.
I am thankful for my car.
See, and this is the key. I feel we want to be grateful for what we currently have. That's
Oh,
the
totally.
happiness. That's the abundance. And, you know, it can be with anything, like, you know, a new relationship. I mean, you know, I check in with you. Oh, you're still, you know, riding high. Yeah, yay.
Oh, okay.
Let's keep that going. Let's keep that going.
That's a good
because-
thing.
Because
That's a good
that's
thing,
an
yeah.
abundance. That's that slice of pie.
Yes.
It's 100%. Let's
Right.
keep
Yes.
it at 100%.
Right.
But the point is, it's like you said, it's our state of mind.
Right.
Right.
And so we can have 100% right now,
Sure.
you know, feel 100% health, 100% wealth, 100% wisdom, 100% wonderful career, whatever.
Right.
Right now, it's just a question of whether we're willing to see what's already here.
Right.
Yeah, and one thing too, I mean, you know, when we express gratefulness or gratitude over the abundance that we have, and,
Yeah.
you know, and to create that within ourselves,
Right.
but how we express it to other people also helps their energy level on that ramp
Sure.
up.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
just, you know, so I've really, over the last several years, I've really tried to get into the practice of really just saying thank you for, you know, if somebody does anything nice for me, I just want to make sure to say, hey, thank you. I mean, just like before we started the taping, I wanted to let you ladies know just how much I appreciate you all and love you
Yeah,
all. And I
thank
just
you.
think that, you know, when we can express appreciation or gratitude for other people or the
Yeah.
things that they do for us, the kindnesses,
Right.
I think that kind of helps spread the love or spread the
Sure.
good energy, the good vibration.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree.
That is awesome.
yeah.
We've sort of been around the block today, per usual. But it's been really fun to talk about our views on math, you know, happiness as a mathematical equation, and, you know, being present and enjoying what you have, and thinking about how we focus and choose happiness in our lives every day. And when we want to shift for more happiness, what does that look like? And how do we work that? I think you brought up some great ideas with the prism analogy, and you know, happiness versus contentment, maybe it being a choice and it being a long-term choice of small acts of presence and gratitude that string together to create long-term contentment in life. Yeah, I don't know, but here's what I do know. Laughter and joy and fun are contagious. They lift our vibration. They bring us joy. And you know what? Even if they do know more than that, isn't that just worthwhile?
exactly.
Yeah,
Isn't
yeah.
that part of what makes life
Isn't that
worthwhile?
why we're here?
Yeah.
To have fun?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I just got to
To
chill.
be happy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's supposed to be a game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the
What's
immortal
the
We
point?
forgot.
What's the point if we're not happy?
Right.
Right. It's like in the immortal words of Bobby McFerrin. Don't worry, be happy.
Yeah.
There
Oh,
you
I
go.
love it. There we go.
And
That's a
with
great
that, we are your hosts. I'm Katrina.
I'm Lori.
Loretta.
way. And I'm Lisa. And please subscribe and share on our YouTube channel, The Vision Within. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.